Earlier this week, President Joe Biden announced that he plans to shift the US government fleet of vehicles over to electric, and that's 650,000 vehicles. So it's no small initiative. We're going to talk to Joel Levin of PluginAmerica about that. So welcome to the interview, Joel.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Give us your reaction to President Biden's announcement.
Well, we're really excited about it. It's something that we've been advocating for a long time. It's a first step on electrifying all the transportation in the United States. It's obviously it's a big step. It's not something that's going to happen in 10 minutes. There's a lot of different pieces involved to it. Obviously, having the vehicles available for purchase, building all the charging infrastructure, creating the sort of industrial background that we need for this. So there's a lot of steps involved in doing it, but it's also the most powerful thing about it is it's a really strong message to industry that the US is really serious about electrifying transportation, and the government is going to commit to it with its procurement dollars, and that we hope that this will drive forward eventually electrifying the whole fleet of vehicles in the United States. But it's a great and really powerful start in that direction.
I read President Biden's clean energy plan, and one of the things that struck me is his pledge to overtake China as the clean energy superpower in the world and make the US #1 clean energy superpower. And it seems like this is the kind of move that, well, because electric vehicles are very close to the inflection point in terms of taking off in the marketplace, this is the kind of announcement and initiative that could really, it's the big push that electric vehicles need to hit that inflection point and, really sort of zoom up the curve. Would you agree with that?
It's a part of it, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has to go with this. So we need to invest heavily in battery manufacturing. So a big part of the value of electric cars is in the batteries, and we don't produce a lot of batteries right now in the US. The battery, big investments in batteries is going on right now in Europe and in China. And so if we're going to be a leader on EVs, we have to be a leader in batteries. So there needs to be a big investment there. There needs to be a commitment to converting all of our manufacturing over to EVs. I'm sure you heard about General Motors. That helps a lot. The fact that General Motors is now completely on board with electric vehicles. We need to build out the charging infrastructure. And so there's a lot of work to be done there. And so there's a lot of different steps, but this is a really powerful step and a statement of commitment from the federal government.
Now, one of the things that you suggested that President Biden can do is name a transportation electrification czar to work in the White House. What other things can he do to speed up this initiative?
I think that he needs, so the czar is important because this is a multifaceted problem. It's not just manufacturing the vehicles. So it's not just, Department of Transportation. It's not just Department of Energy. It's education. It's building out the skilled electrical engineers and the electricians and everybody to do this. So it's education. There's a whole bunch of different pieces. And so we think that it would be really valuable to have someone in the White House to coordinate all of the different parts and the different agencies that are going to be involved with this.
Right. Is there anything else he can do in terms of new programs and new policies that would supplement the work of the transportation czar?
So the #1 policy that we've been advocating for many years, and most people in this field, is to extend the federal tax credit for EVs. So the US government has a $7,500 up to $7,500 tax credit for buying an EV that we've had for a long time, but it's been phasing out for a while. And so each manufacturer is capped in the number of credits it can get. The two biggest manufacturers in the US of EVs, Tesla and GM, have already burned through all their credits. And so re-upping that will definitely be a great shot in the arm, so to speak, for the market and drive forward consumer purchases of EVs. So that would be really helpful. There's also a federal tax credit for charging infrastructure, but that every year it gets extended year by year. We would love to see that expanded and put on a kind of a long-term basis. And then overall, to have the federal government create a kind of a federal strategy on charging. Charging right now really is ad hoc. It's sort of done state by state, city by city. Some states have pretty good charging infrastructure, some don't. There's different signage. It's very inconsistent. So to have an overall federal perspective on charging infrastructure across the country would be really valuable. And we certainly haven't had that up till now. Also standards. There's different charging standards. There's different ways that you pay for charging. So for example, when you buy gasoline, if you have a credit card, you can go to any gas station in the country and you know you can buy gasoline. With charging, many of them have proprietary networks. You have to be in a network for each different charging company, and you have to, drive around with a pocket full of plastic for different networks. So to have a system like that, where if you've got a credit card or a charge card that you know that you can access any charger in the country, would be really valuable. So there's a lot of like little pieces like that to make it easier to drive an EV that the federal government can be involved with.
Joel, thank you very much for this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.